to a Patreon exclusive episode of Allegedly Astrology. Each episode, we break down the astrology that happened during some of the biggest scandals and events in history. So, Dana, what are we talking about on this episode?
Today, we are talking about one of the most high-profile marriages to come out of the 90s, the marriage of Pamela Anderson and Tommy Lee.
Yes, Pam and Tommy. They were two of the most well-known stars in Hollywood at the time, and their incredibly volatile romance resulted in a sex tape that became one of the biggest celebrity scandals ever. They had 2 kids, and they got divorced. Surprise, surprise. But before we get into their astrology, let's do a quick refresher on who these 2 90s icons are.
Okay, so Pam Anderson. We know her. We love her. She was a super famous actress in the 90s, like so famous. Other TV shows around the globe had storylines about her. You know, she was on shows like Baywatch, VIP, which I distinctly remember for some reason my mom watching. I think it was on like USA Network.
Oh my God, random. I've never heard of that.
Yeah. And then she was also on Home Improvement, which I feel like I watched.
I love that show.
And she was a Playboy playmate. She's still very recognized today as a popular sex symbol. So, Dana, what are her big 3?
Okay, Pamela Anderson was born on July 1st, 1967 at 4:08 a.m. in Ladysmith, British Columbia in Canada. And she has a Cancer
She's
sun.
Canadian?
Yeah,
Hell
right?
yeah.
She's Canadian.
Random.
Yeah, she doesn't strike me as a Canadian, but she isn't volatile, so I guess. My favorite Canadian is Bieber. So she's a Cancer sun, Aries moon, and Gemini rising. So her Cancer sun is going to make her sensitive and hot, especially with her moon in Aries, which is fire. And that's the same placement as our friend Rihanna. So very hot.
Hell
right?
yeah.
Rihanna moon.
The Riri moon. Cancers are emo, which can be like great for acting. It's also a sign associated with breasts and the mother. And Pamela Anderson was known for her ample bosom. And I watched a show once, I think on MTV, where she seemed like a really good mom. So all of this tracks so far. Her Aries moon is going to make her like a go-getter. And since her moon squares her sun, which this is like otherwise known as the last quarter moon, it can lend a sense of like urgency to someone's personality and give them like an extra go-getter attitude, especially in cardinal signs. It's just sort of like, but there's always like an inner tension, but that's what like spurs someone to go and get. And then her Gemini rising is going to give her loads of charm and a sense of humor. So Gemini placement's kind of like might like to play dumb for sport or to gain an advantage, or if they intuit someone's like suspicious behavior, if they're like not quite comfortable. And her Gemini rising is ruled by Mercury in Cancer, which stationed retrograde 5 days before she was born. Planets that are stationed retrograde or direct within like a week of someone's birth are going to be highlighted in that chart, because if your ruling planet is retrograde, it might like make someone a late bloomer or suggest that their internal experience is like just far richer and deeper than what is perceived on the surface. This can be especially true before someone's dead in return. So if this is any of you guys, it might apply. And so what this means for Pamela Anderson, in my opinion, is that she's smarter than she lets on and probably has some like measurable amount of anxiety and protects herself with boundaries. And these are like Mercury Cancer things. Well, Mercury is anxiety, Cancer is boundaries. And I like Mercury in Cancer also loves and feels very deeply.
If someone wanted to know if a planet was retrograde around the time they were born, would their like birth chart say that, or how would you find that out?
I would go on astroseek.com and I would go to the year I was born and see the dates that you can go. I think it's under Astro Tools and it'll say like retrograde. And then you just click on the year you were born. Everyone was born in the 1900s or 2000s. It'll be right there at the bottom of the page. And then it'll give the dates when a planet stationed retrograde or direct.
Nice. Okay. Hot tip from Dana. But Tommy Lee, we're going to move on to him, was a founding member of the band Motley Crue, which was a big like glam metal band in the 80s. And before hooking up with Pam, he was married to Heather Locklear and Elaine Starshook. And his general vibes was like sex, drugs, rock and roll, you know? He was just like the poster boy of the genre. Mostly because he would like moon the crowd whenever he went on stage, and was just like a very like gregarious character.
Yeah, what a child.
Dana, what's his big 3?
Can you imagine being like, that's my dad, and he's just like mooning everyone? So dumb. Papa.
I think Machine Gun Kelly played him in the Netflix movie about Motley Crue, which I regrettably watched.
What?
Yeah.
No, I can't believe someone also gave Machine Gun Kelly a documentary, like showing all the adversity he had to go through. I'm like, bitch, please.
What?
It's called Life in Pink.
What?
Why pink? Does he wear a lot of pink?
Because his signature thing was pink hair for a while.
When?
Oh, weird.
Like in 2021? Like, what are you talking about?
The whole thing seems like a stretch in general.
So bizarre. Okay, so Tommy was born on October 3rd, 1962 in Athens, Greece. And we don't know what time he was born, but we do know that he has a Libra sun and either a Scorpio or Sagittarius moon. And my money's on Scorpio, since he's known for being well endowed, especially since his Mars is in Cancer, which would be in mutual reception to his moon if it were in Scorpio. And both Mars in Cancer and the moon in Scorpio can be rebellious and extremely vulnerable placements, which is just like super sex, drugs, and rock and roll vibes. And then the Libra sun is relationship oriented. It's seeing yourself or getting to know yourself through another, which would be apt for several marriages. And Libra suns are accommodating, non-confrontational, and often huge flirts.
If you want to learn more about Pam and Tommy's wild bi-wheel synastry and the face-licking incident, yes, that's right, I said it, that started it all, make sure to subscribe to Allegedly Astrology's Patreon to hear the rest of this exclusive episode.